All right, here with Ronnie Olson, coach of the Shady Spring Tigers. Ronnie, it all starts Monday, but you got a little mixer going here this evening. Some other schools involved here: Summit, Bluefield, Oak Hill, Fairmont came down. Your old buddy Dave Retton. You guys are in. What gave you this idea? The only time I'd ever heard of a mixer was up at Hedgesville. Kelly Church ran one. Where did you get the idea of doing a mixer in this format, 20-minute running clock halves?
I just, start getting excited for basketball. I want everybody else to get excited for basketball, and it's basketball falls in that time frame where football playoffs, volleyball states, so before you know it, you're almost in mid-season because everybody's in a holiday mode, right? Thanksgiving, and then before you Christmas break. So I wanted our community, I want our state, I know all these coaches really love it, so I said, I sent out a text. I said, let's get everybody excited about next week because we start next week. Let's just mix it up a little bit. That's why we call it a mixer. Mix it up, just play a little bit against each other. We got some food, El Mariachi afterwards. So it's a good little event. We play a lot. Guys get after it. We don't charge nothing. Just come in here and play. And so it gets everybody excited for the season. So
you guys look pretty good in your two halves so far this evening. Let's talk about a little bit about your personnel. You lost some key guys from last year, obviously. Jack Williams, obviously. Your son Kyle was a great player for you. Jalen Bailey. Yeah. Then you lose probably who would have been penciled in, Radford as your point guard. Lose him to an injury. What's the personnel like this year?
Replacing Kai, Jack, Jalen. It's a tough thing. They've meant a lot to me, and they're good players. They've meant a lot to this program. They won a state championship. Brody is going to, he's going to go and he's going to play. So he's going to start Monday. So I think that he's going to be able to play with the injury. We'll see what happens. He's going to give it everything he has, and so we'll see how effective he can be. But I'm excited to give him an opportunity, and he's excited to get back into it. But we got a bunch of guys that can play. We're young. We got one senior, that can score. We got a senior, Rob Lynch, and we got a bunch of underclassmen. We could start, freshmen, sophomores, probably going to start a couple sophomores and a freshman where we're young, but we got a couple guys at the top that can help us, Brody and Coby, to lead us as well.
Well, that senior, and you just mentioned him, Coby Dillon, on Saturday was with Woodrow playing for a state soccer championship. Transferred over. I know he's enrolled in school now. What are you expecting from him? It's a new program, but here's a guy that's right on the threshold. I think maybe 20 or 30. I'd have to check to be sure. From 1,000 points for his career, so that tells you right there. Going into his senior year, he's almost reached.
Yeah, I need to know that number. Maybe we can.
I'll get.
We had a flex day Monday. I'm trying to get the guys a little bit of shape before we start. And immediately when he stepped in the gym, he's just a light. He's just his presence, his leadership. I didn't realize how good he was at everything he can do. I know how hard it was to coach against him, game plan against him, but man, he can play so many different positions. And when you unleash him on the floor, I've just seen some things. And today you saw it, the way we were running the floor, and he finds guys, and he demands so much attention up at the three-point arc that other guys are going to be open. And if you're running your lanes and you're running the right positions, you're going to get easy buckets. He just makes everybody's job easier. He's already coaching my young guys, up in the first day of flex days. They've already welcomed it with open arms. He's going to be big for us. I'm happy that he came here. I'm not going to get too much into the whole thing about transferring, but it's 2025. Coach Olson, Serena Starcher, Miss Vickers, we didn't vote on the transfer rule. That was set by the legislature of the state of West Virginia. So when the legislature sets laws for us, policies, guidelines, anybody that works in a job understands that it is what it is. We don't make the rules, and it's 2025, and you can transfer as you will. And I'm happy to have him. He's family. We've had guys leave my program when I've coached here, and there's been guys that have left different programs, and you want to go to a place where you can play and be happy. And we haven't got into why he transferred, nor do I care. All I know is he's going to play hard for me. He's going to be a big part of what we do.
Right.
he is going to give us everything, and he's already part of the team. So I'm excited for him. He's a very mature young man, and I look for big things from him and the whole team. So he's a Mar guy. He's a Shady Spring Tiger, and I got his back, and that's all that matters. He's here, and so we're excited, and I think sky's the limit for this team.
Two guys that are returning, and I think they started for you. This will be their third year. Gabe, well, they may have came off the bench earlier in their career, but Gabe Short, Eli Sexton. I thought Eli looked really good in your two sets that I got to watch you play. What about those two guys? I mean, they're going to be they're going to be key guys now, whereas before they were able to just fill their roles. How does that expand? How does their roles expand?
I mean, Eli started. I mean, he started for us, Gabe, had a tough beginning of the year last year as a freshman. You come in and he got sick and he had some, freak injuries.
He's a sophomore?
He's a sophomore.
I gave him an extra year.
Yeah,
there.
so, I mean, people can look at our roster and say, man, they got two sophomores right there. But, man, I'll tell you what, those two sophomores, I'll put them up against anybody in the state of West Virginia. So those two are going to be college-level players. I wouldn't trade them for anything. They can defend. They can go downhill. They're big presences. They are. I mean, they bleed our program. They want to win. They love basketball and they love being in the gym. And I feel like they're an extension of me. So them coming in, I feel like I got some of the best players in the state at any class with those two. So Eli's already going to step in and have all that playing time, and Gabe comes in with a chip on his shoulder. And he's going to come and fill a huge role. They can defend, rebound, and score. They can all three facets. So I'm excited.
What's it say about Radford that he wants to give it a shot, not just give up his senior year?
No, he's going to play, and we're going to watch him closely and carefully. He's got release, so he's got a low center of gravity, and he's really strong in his quads. And I'm not familiar with a lot of stuff. We've got a release from him, but he's going to give it a go. And if I can do anything to help him, play, and if he can help us, then we will. So that's just going to be a week by week thing. He's starting Monday, and he works freaking 5 days a week. He does on his quads and his hamstrings, and he's been working. We've had talks. Him and I've sat down and talked about it, and that kid's given me everything for 4 years. So, we own the opportunity to see what he can do, and I feel like he's going to be able to hopefully help us. We'll see you at the grind. It's different, but he's a very resilient and strong kid. So, we'll see what happens.
It looks like you got a couple bigs now too, guys that can do some. Maybe if they get into their role and really help you out. And that's Cutter Boggs and then the freshman Willie. What are those guys going to give you? Do you think?
I mean, they're bruisers. They're huge. Sometimes, like maybe tonight, you can see me, but we're huge. We haven't had a team this big in a long time that we can throw out there. Cutter and Jace are phenomenal. Jace is just a stud freshman. The sky's the limit for him. I mean, he can jump out of the gym. They don't look as polished right now because they don't understand where to go. But as soon as they learn where they're going to go, their natural instincts, Cutter is as good as athletes you're going to find. He's a Division I type baseball player. So his motor is. There's not a guy that has the hardest motor as Cutter. You see him diving all the way into the wall.
He's a sophomore.
Yeah, he's a sophomore. So he averaged well over a double-double, probably close to 15 rebounds last year on JV. That's a lot. So I want to say 15 and 15. So we had a senior-laden team, but as soon as they learn the defense and the little nuances of it, then that's when their athleticism can take over, because right now they're thinking, and it's kind of stopping their athleticism. But once we get repetition, and once they understand where to go, I think you're going to see the athleticism and how big we can be on the glass, and it's not going to stretch our defense so thin. We were smaller last year. We were super skilled, and we had great leaders, but we haven't had a team this big, and I'm excited to do some things different defensively. And I'm excited to have those two guys in there. Like I said.
What about Willie and Bailey? I mean, they're freshmen.
Yeah.
How are they going to factor?
Card-wise, I mean, we got some good. They're freshmen. Jalen Bailey.
Bailey.
Yeah. Jace. He's got to earn his name. Jace. He's still Jalen, but no. Jace is a stud. We got Malachi Flory. He played golf. Rob, the upperclassman. He's going to be a big part. Miles Clark. I know I'm going to leave names out, but we got a good freshman class. This is you know, you were talking about freshmen. We got a really deep freshman class here. Jalen Hall is going to be a good little player. You know, these guys may not touch the floor that are going to, you know, this is a deep freshman class, and I think you're going to see it. You may not see them play immediately, some of those guys, but immediate impact guys, you know, Jace Bailey, Malachi, you know, Jace Lilly, those guys are going to play, and they're going to play extensively. And, you know, we don't look at grades, if what grades you're in. We look if you can produce and if you can play. And that, you know, I do our team a disservice if we weren't playing the best guys and putting them on the floor, freshmen or seniors alone.
I look at your schedule. I mean, you've always played a good schedule for a reason, to prepare your guys even when you were double A, playing up a lot. It's a very demanding schedule that you play with this young team.
Well,
any concern about that?
It's different because we've had great schedules, like you said, and we do that for a reason. But can you mentally understand as a young team, you know, why we have this schedule? Because, you know, we want to win every game, but hey, we might have a 2, 3, 4 game losing streak because we're playing some of the best 4A teams in the state. You know, but we understand there's a part of our schedule that's more important than anything, and it's those regional games as well, because we want to ultimately host, and that's our goal. You know, you always hear me say that, but that schedule is put there for a reason, and I don't believe in playing teams that aren't going to help us, because your sophomores are still going to be sophomores. You can still play, and I hear a lot of coaches say, hey, they're not sophomores because they play 20 games. Well, what are you doing in those 20 games to prepare your sophomores to be juniors? What are you doing in those 20 games to allow your freshmen to transition to sophomores and juniors and on a basketball floor? So for me, you know, we attack it as, let's play the best talent you can have, because you take one game against Morgantown or University of Woodrow, those teams, that's 4 times teams that you might pick up on a single A or double A level. You know, now there's some great double A teams and great single A teams, but for the most part, you know, their reason they're 4A. So, you know, I do that as a math equation. You know, a 4A is equivalent to a 4-game max for me. So, you know, we're putting them in the fire, and that's really preparing our younger guys for later in the season.
It's interesting. I never thought about it like that.
So
it's almost like 4 games, and
it is in one, because you know you're gonna get hit, you're gonna get physical, you're gonna see every aspect of the game that you may not see. You may watch film and you may not see that in 4 games you may play against lesser opponents. So that's big for us.
There are some small, especially double.
Yeah, I mean Wyoming East, Bluefield, those teams are loaded. You know, so those teams can beat. Those are the few exceptions that can beat the 4As, the 3As. You know, you can put them on any floor and they're as good. You know, but for the most part, you know, that's why we have classifications, and for a reason, because it's not fair. You know, you got a school with 2,000 kids and you got a school with 400. Of course, you're gonna have classifications. There is no right or wrong answer to that, but you've got to have classifications. So. For us, you know, we attack the schedule that way, and it's preparing us. But then we hyper focus on our regional opponents, and that can give us the leg up on a home court advantage, and which ultimately can lead to what our goal is: a trip to Charleston, which can ultimately give the one goal that we have, and that's a state championship.
Well, speaking of that, and I'll end it on this. Is it true that you're not the top coach in the Olson household now? Your wife is going for a state championship in volleyball.
It's crazy
tomorrow morning. I know you're probably going to get out of here as soon as you can in the morning. Or how nervous are you right now? I'll talk to you through the regional process. Now they're at the state level. They're playing Hoover in the morning for a state championship. How nervous are you? Is Coach Olson for Mrs. Coach Olson, who's a coach herself now?
Prepping all this stuff today, I was like, why did I schedule this on a day where, you know, I probably could have been up there with her, but it's been a good reprieve for me mentally. But I'm so proud of my wife and those girls for what they've been able to do. You know, she's been by herself pretty much, you know, the whole last part of the season. She doesn't have an assistant coach.
Teams with no assistant.
She walks in by herself. I've tried to help with the hotels and schematics and the pizza. We've got a great parent group, but you know, they play in a state championship tomorrow, and it's awesome. Just to, you know, I would give everything up I have just for her to have a state championship. You know, I'm going to be there. It sucks, and because you have no control. It's kind of like when your kids are playing. When you coach them, it's a little different. You have control, but when your kids are playing, you don't have any control over it. My wife's coaching. You want it so much for her. You know, she's come into this role. You know, it's been daunting. You know, nobody applied for the job, and you know.
She stepped in. Only got them right to the state championship game.
I'm just, she's a great role model to the girls, and there's always gonna be people that don't like you, and I always say if everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong, and that's life. Everybody's not gonna approve of what you do, everybody's not gonna approve of what I do, and she's doing it her way, and I'm proud of her as a husband, as an athletic director. And I think the girls, they got a special team. It's going to be a heck of a game between them and Hoover. 1-2 teams in the state. We're going to get down there. I might be camping out to be the first one in the Coliseum tomorrow. But it's awesome to see that volleyball floor out her on there. And we're excited. She's going to be right there with me when we start playing here in another month. And heck, we got a scrimmage right over Thanksgiving break. So it's right around the corner. We're a sports family. We love it. That's what makes us so close and so special. And I think that's what this program is for me too, for my guys. It's kind of a family thing, and sports brings you together, it brings communities together, and I love it. And I wouldn't rather be doing anything else, and I wouldn't have my wife doing anything else, and I wouldn't have my guys being anywhere else on a night like tonight.
Ronnie, always appreciate it.
Thank you.
As usual.
Yep.
We'll see you real soon.
Yep. Go Shady.